So let's take it all the way back to the beginning. You got a really interesting story. As I mentioned, you're an NCO that just completed the pipeline, but you started your life out in the Army and you were on the part-time side. So walk us through what you did in the Army.
Yeah, sorry. One of the boys
No,
was
you're all
trying to
good.
call me. That's how they go. Being an NCO, you always got guys calling you for something. So,
Amen, brother.
yeah, starting from my beginning of the story, I was a prior service Army guy. Got in when I was 17, very young, and I was an intel guy, all source intel. Kind of a fun job. Really wasn't kind of my forte. Didn't really want to lean toward that, but that's the only thing Mama would sign for at the time.
Right.
Did my 8 years as an intel guy. Decided to get out. I was playing some ball in college, and I kind of just took that route. And then did about a year and a half out of the military. And then I decided, hey, it's time for me to get back in. I don't want to waste my time in the Army and all my training that I gathered from that. But at the same time, I don't really want to be back in the Army. Nothing wrong about it. It's just I want to try something different. My aunt, she used to run the sims for the JTAC guys, for all the TACPs and everything. And
Oh, wow.
it was like, hey, go check them out, man. They like to do the same stuff you like to do. And I was like, all right, cool. Went and sat down with some local guys that I knew that were TACPs. Kind of did like a little mock interview, if you would say. They were like, hey, you like to ruck? I was like, yeah, I enjoy rucking. They were like, hey, you like to work out? I was like, I'm a personal trainer, by trade. I enjoy working out. So they were like, can you sign here? I was like, yeah, I'll sign.
It sounds like that's all I need to know.
That's all I needed to know. And then I looked around the squadron, and it was just, to me, it was like such a brotherhood. It was like, hey, all these guys are working out, training together, and they want to get some. So I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want something that's going to push me. And then, I got very fortunate to become something like that.
Did a little part of your Army heart die when you had to admit that the Air Force had a really cool job for you and you were about to cross over?
What was funny was, honestly, I didn't know anything about TACP when I first started. I was like, what do they do? What's going on? And then when I joined, I was like, I got out of the Army to get in the Air Force to go back and hang out with the Army. I was like, so but it did work out. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like having that Army background, it really helped me because I know how the Army thinks. I know how the S2 thinks, so I'm like, okay, hey, I can correlate with these guys. But I will say, coming from big green to big blue is a very big change. And it's not so Army-fied over here. And it's pretty nice, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, it's almost like being in the military over here on the Air Force side of the house.
Yeah. It's almost like you're a human being, not a number.
Absolutely. So you went through the application process. How did that go for you? Because cross training, we get questions all the time. Hey, I'm in the Army or I'm in the Navy, I'm in the Marines, and I want to come over and I want to try out for TACP. So how hard was the actual application process, and what hiccups did you hit as you were making that transition?
Let's see. So for me, I was out long enough to where I had to go back to MEPS. So I would advise, don't ever do that. MEPS the second time is always worse than the first time. And that's just because I was older, had some injuries and everything, had to go through that. Got my MEPS process done, all that good stuff. And then it was kind of like going through my, I guess you would say, like a mini selection with the guys back at the unit. They were like, yo, hey, you've got to meet certain criteria before we're even going to put your packet in to go, Sure. So, yep. And that was a good thing for me because they hooked me up and made sure I was ready to go. The only hiccups I would say is, to be honest, it was just like understanding the grind. Changing over from Army to Air Force specifically wasn't really hard for me because I kind of understood the training process and understood, big numbers and what we were going to do. But, understanding that this was probably going to be the longest training process I've ever been through. So it's just like, right. just knowing that I had to get up every day and just keep working. But as far as the transition as a whole, it really wasn't that hard for me. It just kind of, I got to keep my NCO status from the Army, which was very beneficial, Good. Which was nice. It just kind of carried over and worked out pretty well.
Yeah. And it is same, but different. You had that good experience behind you where, the military is a very specific culture. It's a very specific group of people. And we tend to think on the inside that it's this huge thing, right? That, the Army is this big beast and the Marines are this whole different beast, and the Air Force. And then you spend a little bit of time with your sister services and you're like, wait a second. it's a little bit of different terminology, but I know this game.
Yeah.
I know how to play this game.
Yeah, I will say though, once the swap kind of happened, and like fast forward a little bit, I guess, once I was in the schoolhouse, being around some big blue NCOs that were going through the same course as me, now I'm learning, hey, there's a different way to be an NCO rather than just be Army NCO. Like, hey, let's go, you know. So
I love it.
I learned a lot, and it was very very heartwarming to get that experience.